Alright, today we're going to be reacting to Married with Children officially ended after this happened. I'm so curious as to see what exactly caused Married with Children to end, because I'm a fan of Married with Children. If you've seen a couple of my Married with Children reactions on this channel now, you will know. I've made a playlist as well if you haven't seen it. But yeah guys, look, with that being said, let's get straight into the video. Let's go.
If there's one thing Married with Children taught us, it's that love and marriage go together like a horse and carriage. Well, old Frankie Blue Eyes taught us that each week with the theme song. The actual show was a bit different.
That's very touching, honey. Now rub my feet.
Hey, I wouldn't rub your feet if a genie popped out of them.
Try and separate Married from its risque premise, and you wouldn't really have a show at all. So just how did we get the most memorable sitcom that pushed all the boundaries? Turns out a lot happened behind the scenes. And although this show put a network on the map, some episodes were too racy to make. And haters of the show had a part in saving the series. I'm your host, Nostalgic Nick, and it's time to go behind the display and check out the secrets in the back. If the shoe fits,
Let me
be
like
sure
the video as well, because this seems like it's going to be quite an informative one. Let's just like the video right now, okay.
to give this video a thumbs up for us, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a throwback video. But without further ado, let's rock.
Alright.
The cast shuffle. Ed O'Neill's gruff lewdness and Katie Seagal's long-suffering sarcasm are practically synonymous with this show.
Well, everyone in high school said no one was stupid enough to marry the big redhead.
But these things don't materialize in their final form right away. When show creators Michael G. Moy and Ron Levitt pitched their sitcom idea, they envisioned Sam Kinison and Roseanne Barr as Al and Peggy. Kinison famous for his loud, charismatic preaching.
Oh, okay.
And building a friendship with Robin Williams and Jim Carrey via stand-up at the Comedy Store. And Roseanne Barr, the other side of the crass coin, was a rising comedy star at the time, but both told show creators that they were aiming for movie gigs. Though Barr would get her own sitcom just a year after Married with Children debuted. Michael Richards, famous for his wacky entrances and mannerisms as Jerry's neighbor Kramer on Seinfeld. But years before, he auditioned to play Al, but didn't quite fit. Instead, the showrunners happened to see Ed O'Neill play Lenny in a Hartford production of Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. And then O'Neill auditioned with something...
I did that in secondary school, Mice and Men. I remember when the teacher would always ask people to read, and then they said the N-word in it, and everyone was like, should I say it, should I say it? That's what I remember specifically, but I mean, the book in itself, I can't remember too tough about the storyline. See, I think from what I remember, I feel like it was an interesting book, but this is not about Mice and Men.
Production.
I didn't realize he played it though. That's interesting. I didn't realize they had a movie for it.
Instead, the showrunners happened to see Ed O'Neill play Lenny in a Hartford production of Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. And then O'Neill auditioned with something special. 80% of the men who auditioned for Al played him like Jackie Gleason from The Honeymooners.
This idiot's got the gall to come down here and put the late show on when I'm trying to get to sleep and I gotta go to work tomorrow.
And 20% acted like Jack from The Shining. Here's Bundy. It just doesn't work. O'Neill put his own...
So guys, just a quick interjection. If any of these, like, so some of these older, like, sitcoms or shows, like, I'm not too familiar with. So if there's any, like, short clips you guys want me to react to from any of these other shows, let me know as well, because I'll be interested in checking them out.
Shining. Here's Bundy. It just doesn't work. O'Neill put his own twist on Al by sighing and slumping his shoulders before going into his home. And the sheer dejection as he entered won him the role. No one ever saw the unaired pilot, but we had some different Bundys. Originally, Tina Caspary played Kelly, and Hunter Carson played Bud Bundy. And we know Christina Applegate and David Faustino took the roles permanently, which rounded out this perfectly imperfect family. Married with Fox.
Kelly and Bud.
It's 7 o'clock in the evening on April 5th, 1987. It's Sunday, so a full work week is just around the corner. And on TV, something historic is happening. Fox makes its primetime network debut with a new sitcom, Married with Children, partnered with the Tracy Ullman Show. And the pair got replayed again at 9 p.m. for those who were putting the kids down at 7. And from beginning with history to ending with some too. The final episode aired on June 9th, 1997.
June 9th, 1997, you know.
That's one desperate little chimp, huh?
Compiling 259 original episodes, making
Wow,
it
that's
the
a lot.
longest-running live-action series in the network's history. It was also the longest-running show that never won an award, until
Wow.
Baywatch ended, so yay? And we also have a Baywatch cast rewind if you were a fan of the slow-mo run as much as Al Bundy was. The Gall of Seagal. Just as Archie Bunker had Maud to keep him in check, Al Bundy had Peggy.
You're gonna start nagging about this, aren't you?
I do not nag.
All right.
Though instead of keeping each other in check, it was more of an endless feedback loop of humanity's worst vices. Bloody brilliant. Peggy
It
doesn't
was.
make life easy for Al, like a sheer refusal to cook or clean or do a lot of things. And that was all more absurd thanks to Katie Sagal's genius ideas for her character. When Sagal auditioned for the role, she had this idea to dress Peggy like a parody of a 1960s housewife. So she brought in her own bouffant wig and a 1960s waitress attire. And the
Wow, okay,
producers
so that's a 1960s thing, because I don't know if you guys remember, my first reaction to Married with Children, I was so like the wig that she was wearing. I thought it was her actual hairstyle. I thought like that's how far back I thought this was made. But okay, so she wanted to go a flashback in the past. I didn't realize. I thought this was kind of like a 1980s thing, or 1970s maybe, or not around that realm. But I didn't realize this was like more 1960s. It's interesting.
loved it. And the look was completed with capri leggings, clunky belt, and skinny heels. The budget
whole
didn't
fit?
allow for a dedicated wig for 3 whole seasons. So before then, Peggy stayed a brunette. Working with children. When the word children is in the show title, you know what you're getting.
Well, Al, didn't you notice I was getting fat?
Well, yeah.
And Katie Sagal's real-life pregnancy highlighted this. And the showrunners worked it into season 6. But sadly, Katie Sagal miscarried. The show addressed this sudden loss by calling it all a nightmare that Al had. It was such a dark topic covered in a clever way. Sagal became pregnant 2 more times during the show, but they decided to go in a hide-the-stomach angle rather than embrace it. No bad.
Wow, okay, so they incorporated her pregnancy into, and then unfortunately she had a miscarriage in the first one. That's interesting. And they have made that's made the whole episode around it. Wow, okay. They must have been dedicated to the cast.
They decided to go in a hide-the-stomach angle rather than embrace it. No bad press. Some of the most iconic pieces of entertainment history got pretty rough starts. MASH was 46th in the ratings for season 1, before climbing to the 4th spot for season 2. The Addams Family only lasted 2 seasons, and became more popular as time went on. Married with Children was no exception. In fact, during season 1, David Faustino went to a crowded mall wearing a shirt with the show's logo, and no one approached him. But don't worry, a divine power was looking after the show. Beer? No,
that's mad.
a hater. Family values activist Terry Ricolta was so disgusted by how raunchy and immoral the show was. They started a letter writing campaign, complaining about how the series would corrupt the American family. Specifically, she was appalled by the episode Her Cups Runneth Over, full of lingerie, crude humor, and unsolicited groping. And they did well. Their complaints got a lot of news coverage.
Groping? Was that actually happening in that episode?
The episode Her Cups Runneth Over, full of lingerie, crude humor, and unsolicited groping. And they did well. Their complaints got a lot of news coverage, which in turn brought fresh eyes to the hysterical dumpster fire that was happening over on Fox. Oh, the power of free.
Yeah, I did say, especially my first reaction to it, I was like, yo, just from what I was hearing from the jerks, and I didn't even know if that was even like as much as what like I don't know if that was like to the fullest extent of how like this Married with Children can go with their jokes, but I'm surprised. I did think that this show would get cancelled. Genuinely, like when I first reacted to it, I did think, obviously it's not around today. I would have assumed like if it did end, it was probably because it got taken off air, rather than, I don't know, another reason. And this is interesting. So this is what was driving the show. A lot of people didn't like Married with Children. That's interesting.
To the hysterical dumpster fire that was happening over on Fox. Oh, the power of free publicity. You know who was a fan of the show? Bond. James Bond.
Bond. James Bond.
Well, technically Sir Roger Moore, but same thing. He called the sitcom a guilty pleasure. Plus, he had to support Katie Sagal, the daughter of late director Boris Sagal, and one of Moore's closest friends. We're in good company, Em. A conflicted cast.
A bit biased.
Amanda Burse, who played next-door neighbor Marcy, had a few things in common with her character. The biggest was that she and Ed O'Neill didn't get along swimmingly in real life. They respected each other, but by season 3, they were pretty much staying apart due to frequent arguments.
Wow.
And when
So I actually had a feeling, because these guys were good. Like they seemed to actually, obviously on the show, from what I saw, they did not like each other at all. And then to hear that they actually didn't like each other in real life, I'm not surprised, to be honest.
by season 3, they were pretty much staying apart due to frequent arguments. And when Burse came out as gay, O'Neill did support her, but neither he nor David Faustino were invited to her wedding. Burse stated that she was afraid that they would laugh at the sight of 2 women in tuxedos. And Ed O'Neill has confirmed that he probably would have. Some battles happened on set.
Hey, Ed, man, like you gotta appreciate the man's honesty, man. Look, I mean, regardless of, whether you're in support of it or not, like, well, it's not, obviously she can do what she wants, but it's a thing of, like, at least he's honest with how he's reacting. Like, he's not gonna pretend like he's comfortable, or maybe that he finds it normal, I guess, because I guess maybe he'll make fun of it, or maybe he's just that type of guy who likes to make jokes, and he doesn't really care too tough about whether it's a sensitive thing or not. I don't know. But that's interesting though, that there was tension behind there.
Stated that she was afraid that they would laugh at the sight of 2 women in tuxedos. And Ed O'Neill has confirmed that he probably would have. Some battles happened on set too, like between Katie Sagal and Buck the dog, who kept trying to make some unwanted moves on Sagal's leg. It got so bad, producers were ready to fire Buck and the owner, and play the dog like a bad dream too.
Wait a minute. I'm not an eagle.
Too hot for TV. Former President George Bush once told Americans to be like the Waltons. What he also could have said was, don't be like the Bundys. Al and Bud could be a tag team of taboo behavior between groping women, fondling mannequins, and Al's rivalry with feminists and gay people. Even its premiere raised a few eyebrows, but others watched for this scandalous behavior. And once, Fox even had to put its foot down for the season 3 episode, I'll See You in Court. Originally slated...
looks crazy. We got Al in a suit.
Even had to put its foot down for the season 3 episode. I'll See You.
Got Kelly with the she's blind. And
You
then
in
you
Court.
got
Original
crutches, man. Yo, this show, no wonder. You know what? Like, that's interesting. So for a lot of people, this was like a guilty pleasure, because I guess there was a lot of stuff that went on, maybe controversial, maybe stuff that people would, didn't really want to say out loud, that they watched because of its reputation. But that's very interesting if it had that reputation. It seems like there was a lot more controversy surrounding this, and that seemed to be a lot more of what drove it as far as it did. Wow, I didn't even know any of the context.
Originally slated for the 1989 season, but necessary censor edits pushed it all the way back to 2002. Some countries got an uncut version of I'll See You in Court.
I want to have sex on the kitchen table.
I want to have a meal on the kitchen table.
In which the Bundy parents try to shake up their love life at an inn. That made recordings of people being intimate, including the Bundys and the Rhodes. Okay. Killer tribute. Let's set the record straight. One popular myth states that Al's last name came from the infamous serial killer Ted Bundy, when in reality, the Bundy show creators were nodding to was pro wrestler King Kong Bundy. Who actually has 2 appearances on the show. First as himself, then as Uncle Irwin. The Rhodes got similar treatment, named after another pro wrestler, Dusty Rhodes. Speaking of tie-ins with other famous icons, watch the opening credits and you'll see cars driving on the interstate. That clip is taken directly from National Lampoon's Vacation. You can even see the Griswold station wagon. And I think the Griswolds would get along with the Bundys. As for Marcy Darcy's name, that's inspired by the name of Marcy Carsey, a producer of The Cosbys. You see, when Married with Children was still in its very early days of production, its working title was Not the Cosbys. The goal was to create a sitcom family that was not polished or idyllic, and boy did they succeed. Married with Children delivered a whole lot of laughs and memorable moments. It's hard to believe a show like this even came to exist, and it's serendipitous that the haters would be the ones to help save it. So tell us, what was a great episode of this honest comedy? Do you know a piece of trivia that we forgot? Well, tell us in the comments below. We read them all. And don't worry about spelling Al's name wrong. He's used to it. If you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a thumbs up for us. And if you haven't already,
let me actually check out the comments. I'm curious to see what the top comment on this was. Let me actually put my glasses real quick. This says, so let's be honest, Al Bundy is a man that said all that he wanted to say but couldn't. This is a legendary show. It pushed boundaries and broke family sitcom standards. It actually highlighted the reality of family life, as many middle to low class families didn't have the perfect household or the success and dreams. This show is great. Now, and that's the top comment. What people were replying to this, they were saying, I said that shit, I still do. Thank God the PC culture and cancel culture shit we have these days wasn't so bad in those days, or we would not have this legendary masterpiece. See, this is what I was saying, and I think, now that I'm thinking, that's probably why my first reaction to this did so well, because generally speaking, when I first reacted, I was like, wow, it's refreshing to see a show like this that talks about and makes jokes about the things that they were making, like, because, you know, these days everyone's very sensitive and everything is very polarizing. You can imagine, like, from the few clips I saw, even I didn't watch the full episodes, but I could easily see a show like this getting cancelled. It wouldn't last like more than 10 seconds today with everything going on now. But it's very interesting. I can see that this show was something that pioneered. I feel like a reason probably as to why a lot of you guys maybe still appreciate these reactions or enjoy this sitcom to this day is because you appreciate it for what it was at the time it was. Like the guy in the comment section said, you know, it was something that broke kind of typical traditional sitcom norms, you know, of the perfect family and, you know, everyone having their lives together and stuff, when for many people that wasn't reality. So I can imagine this would probably be a show, especially if I was born around that time. I probably would have been one of the few as well that would be watching this, and maybe I'll be watching it with chest as well. Maybe it wouldn't be a guilty pleasure for me. Maybe I'll be singing it out loud and clear so people you know, could watch it even more so. But yeah, guys, look, I hope you guys enjoyed that reaction. This is very interesting, you know, because I was very interested to see exactly what caused this show to go off air, at least from what I'm aware. And the context I was providing in this video seems to make sense. You guys let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of, whether you agree, whether or not it got cancelled, whether you're on the side of you appreciated it for what it was, or are you on the side of it should have been cancelled. I'll be very interested to see what you guys have to say in the comment section below. But that being said, guys, it's been your boy JayFlex. This has been Married with Children, why it got cancelled, I guess. And you guys have been absolutely wonderful. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.